Well, we just witnessed the biggest national security failure of Donald Trump's term so far. Donald Trump, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, the frat boy turned cabinet member, he just leaked top secret military war plans and undercover CIA field agent names and locations in a Signal group chat. And he didn't just leak it to anybody. The group accidentally included a journalist from The Atlantic, and the excuses for this blunder are almost unbelievable. Almost. They're calling it an accident, a hoax, the reporter's fault, and my personal favorite, they meant to do it to throw people off because everybody in this administration's a genius. It's not just dumb. It's dangerous. The same people that were screaming, lock her up over Hillary's private server emails just handed live war plans and CIA agent names and locations to an unauthorized civilian. And just to remind everybody, here's just a quick throwback.
Lock her up. That's right. That's right. Lock her up.
Let me be clear. Her biggest scandal was using a private server to send emails. That's all. That's all it was. That's crazy. That's crazy. So before I get into the specifics, I want to share why this story hit so hard for me. I've been Pete Hegseth, not literally, but I've walked that line. When I just turned 22, I was promoted to staff sergeant, and I was in charge of 9 of the most highly trained snipers in the world. And I wasn't ready for it. I was young, I was ambitious, I was aggressive, and I was way too confident in my own leadership abilities for my own good. I wanted leadership for leadership's sake, and I wanted it for all of the wrong reasons. To prove that I mattered, to prove that I was a man. And I did it to chase the ego. And when ego's in the driver's seat, people get hurt. And I was on a 16-month deployment during the surge in Iraq, and it was absolutely brutal. And I made bad decisions that changed families' lives forever. Decisions that I still think about at night to this day, 15 years later. And I did not have the power to start a global war. Pete does. That's why I'm sounding the alarm about Pete Hegseth, because I recognize my own reckless energy that I had as a youth, but with way more power and none of the self-awareness. He's me if I had never grown the hell up. And I wrote a full article about this on my Substack. And if you're feeling inclined, go follow me. The link's in the description below. Here are the facts. On March 15th, top Trump officials, including Pete Hegseth, Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Intel Director Tulsi Gabbard were discussing U.S. military strikes in Yemen on an unsecure Signal chat. The chat included target lists. I'm sorry. It's so ridiculous. It included target lists, weapon systems, strike timing, and the names and locations of undercover CIA agents on an unsecure Signal chat. Come on. And interestingly enough, flight data shows that one of the members on that chat was in Russia at the time of this security breach. Steve Witkoff, Trump's Ukraine envoy, was meeting with Putin at this exact time. That's weird. That is weird. There is a lot of weird stuff going on with this administration, huh? So Trump's national security advisor, Mike Waltz, accidentally added Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, to the group chat. 2 hours after those texts were sent, Jeffrey Goldberg's sitting in his car at a grocery store, and he's reading that Yemen is getting airstruck. So he knows that this group chat is serious. I'm not making this stuff. The airstrikes were executed. This isn't a scheduling email. This isn't a scheduling mistake. This is real time war planning sent on an app designed for memes and burner group chats. The only saving grace of this entire situation is the honor and integrity that Jeff Goldberg displayed. He sat on a career-shaping story for 10 whole days before he published his article. And this was so that he would not jeopardize American lives.
Obviously,
there was a covert
material
CIA operative named on the thread, right? So I mean,
well, I withheld her name from this. They named somebody who's an active CIA officer in this thread, which is on Signal, again, a commercial app in which I'm watching. And I withheld it. I didn't put it in the story because she's undercover. But I mean, the CIA director put it into the chat.
Just so I'm being crystal clear, you heard that right. The CIA director disclosed active undercover field agents' names and locations on an unsecured channel to somebody that has not been cleared, who has not been vetted, and who shouldn't have known any of this information. What a dumbass. So what could have caused this gross negligence? Surely there is a good reason that this happened, right? Well, so far I've heard four different excuses from the Trump administration on how and why this happened. But in typical MAGA fashion, the Trump administration refuses to take accountability. They refuse to hold anybody accountable. And not surprisingly, there is a myriad of bullshit excuses that are coming our way, starting with excuse number 1. It was a simple accident. You guys are blowing this out of proportion. House Speaker Mike Johnson came out with the usual flaccid defense, saying the administration has acknowledged it was a mistake and that they'll tighten up and make sure it doesn't happen again. Then he actually said, I don't know what else you want me to say about it. Here's the clip.
Trump Trump officials transmitting classified war plans on unsecured channels.
Listen, the administration, as I understand, I just was with the president in the Oval Office just now. The administration is addressing what happened. Apparently an inadvertent phone number made it onto that thread. They're going to track that down and make sure that it doesn't happen again. What you did see, though, I think, was top level officials doing their job, doing it well, and executing on a plan with precision. That mission was a success. No one was jeopardized because of it. We're grateful for that, but they will certainly, I'm sure, make sure that doesn't happen.
If this was any other administration besides this corrupt cesspool, heads would roll. And then we have excuse number 2. It simply didn't happen. Here's Pete Hegseth gaslighting all of us.
Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
The National Security Council already confirmed that the chat was real. But what else would you expect from a Fox News frat boy that was handed the keys to the Pentagon based on loyalty and not competency? Did you know integrity is a core value in the military? And it is a core value that I still, to this day, hold dear. And here is the top dog lying through his teeth. This is the standard that is being set for others to follow. Other soldiers are going to see Pete Hegseth being a lying piece of shit, and they are going to follow suit because standard bearers are the ones that hold the standard. This, above all things that I have researched, disheartens me the absolute most. How far we have fallen. Moving on to excuse number 3. It's the journalist's fault. Hegseth's first move was not accountability, and in typical coward fashion, he immediately blames somebody else.
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia.
Just so I'm clear, so the guy that got war plans dropped into his fucking lap is the problem. It's not the leadership that royally screwed up. Be accountable. Unfortunately, this is the new normal for this administration. Lies, lies, lies. Honor and integrity have become extinct under the liar in chief. And finally, we get to excuse number 4, and my personal favorite. They meant to do it. You cannot make this up. This was the wildest spin of them all. Some Trump insiders claim Goldberg was added on purpose to throw people off in case the Signal chat got hacked. Guys, this administration is so smart. They are playing 4D chess, and it's actually us. We're the stupid ones. And just to make this even messier, Tulsi Gabbard was asked under oath during testimony to the Senate Intelligence Committee if she was the TG in the Signal group. And she flat out, in typical fashion, she flat out refused to answer the question. This deflection reminds me of a 5-year-old when they get caught doing something that they're not supposed to do. But what more do you expect? Here's the video.
Director Gabbard, did you participate in the group chat with Secretary of Defense and other Trump senior officials discussing the Yemen war plans?
Senator, I don't want to get into the specifics.
Ma'am, were you on? You're not going to be willing to address. So you're not, are you denying? Matt, will you answer my question, ma'am? You were not TG on this group chat?
I'm not going to get into the specifics.
So you refuse to acknowledge whether you were on this group chat?
Senator, I'm not going to get into the specifics.
Why are you going to get into the specifics? Is it because it's all classified?
Because this is currently under review by the National Security
Because
Council.
it's all classified? If it's not classified, share the text now.
And then he reminded her just 11 days ago, Tulsi tweeted this. You know, Tulsi, I actually agree with you. Now this right here, this is the common ground that we need. But again, it is rules for everyone else, but not for those that bend the knee and swear their loyalty to the king. And just in case you need a reminder, how full of shit these people are, let's rewind the tapes.
Any security professional, military, government, or otherwise, would be fired on the spot for this type of conduct and criminally prosecuted for being so reckless with this kind of information. The fact that she wouldn't be held accountable for this, I think, blows the mind of anyone who's held our nation's secrets dear, who's had a top secret clearance like I have and others, who know that even one hiccup causes a problem, let alone a standard procedure like this.
Really? Really, Pete? Do you really feel that way? This was Petey Boy back in 2016 when he had a backbone before he bent the knee. Now, spine like jelly. And here's good old Marco Rubio, Trump's personal poodle and White House pet.
She was less than truthful about it repeatedly. And it goes to the issue of both competence and credibility. It is irresponsible for an elected official in her capacity to be discussing highly sensitive things on a format that she had to have known was not fully secured.
Oh man, poor Marco. Once an honorable sheepdog of the people, now he's just a spineless lapdog for Donald J. Trump. Poor Marco.
Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office.
I stand on the opinion that Pete Hegseth isn't just unqualified. He is a walking liability. He leaked active war plans, and then he lied about it. And then he acted like he was the victim. This isn't just a scandal. This is what happens when frat boy mediocrity is given unchecked power with zero accountability from daddy. This is how houses burn down.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.